What an insanely fantastic episode 3 was, and it's created a million theories inside my head for where season 3 is going to go. Since I have so many thoughts, I'm going to try just to hit the broad points in the episode review, just because I have other theory videos I'm going to do about season 3 of Westworld, and I don't want this video to be over 30 minutes long, because those of you that follow me know I do get that crazy. That being said, love season 1. Season 2 let me down quite a bit. Season 3 is so good so far, and this third episode just was a continuation of episodes that are blowing my mind. First off, does anyone not think that Shardik is a manifestation or a hologram of Rehoboam? I just feel like it's become very clear in this episode that he is. I wasn't quite sure in episode 2. I was thinking, okay, this is a flesh and blood human, but I'm definitely thinking now that that's not true at all, and this is a hologram or something that was created by that machine. I mean, if you really think about it, okay, Hale needed to put on those glasses to have a meeting with him, and I thought, oh, it's because they're in 2 different locations. He picked a neutral location for them to come to have a discussion. Maybe this is one of his properties that's super close to where Hale is, even though he's in a different part of the world, and they're going to put on the glasses so that they can have a meeting. But the more I thought of it, the more it made it seem like in order to see him, because there's no trace of him, there's no evidence, there's no data that he exists, as they talked about, yet he's doing this buyout of the company, Delos. It just, to me, seems like we're getting that trope of a machine is created to make the world a better place, help humanity, and then the machine realizes, wow, the biggest threat to humans is themselves, so I need to come in and help show them exactly what they need to do and how. And I don't know if maybe the overarching plan would be, I want to figure out how to transfer human consciousness into hosts, so then I can always control their bodies, but at the same time, humans are technically living on. This is why I said I wanted to keep this review to main points, because my brain is going a little crazy here with the different directions this show could be going. By the way, someone asked me in my live chat, I do those right after the show, usually about 10:20, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, and they were a little bit confused about Hale being a mole, and this is my understanding. Of course, something could change in the future, but what it seems like is that human Hale, before she was killed by Dolores, she was a mole for Shardik. And then she was killed and Dolores put a new host in Hale's body, but Shardik doesn't know yet that this isn't human Hale anymore, and he's still assuming she's the mole. So whoever's in Hale's body right now is a mole for Dolores, not for Shardik. But Shardik doesn't know, oh wait, you're not human Hale anymore. Which is interesting to me because apparently his machine was able to predict the massacre at Westworld. So why wouldn't he be able to guess that this is going to happen? That maybe one of the hosts is going to take over Hale's body or create a Hale body to use in the real world. I do know he said that Dolores is unpredictable, so maybe that's the issue. But then if what makes the hosts unpredictable is why the machine can't determine it, it then, right, cancels out the theories that Caleb is a host. Otherwise, why did they predict his death and everything that happened? But then again, Dolores said, you're not predictable. Most humans are. So we either have the case of a very, either a unique human, or maybe he's a host, but a host that they tried to introduce into the real world on a low level and see how it could do. Again, tinfoil, sorry. Back to Hale, though. I think with Shardik using the You Are My Sunshine song as a way for her to communicate hints that, oh shit, he was blackmailing Hale or doing something to get her to steal that information from Delos and smuggle it out. She even said, nobody knows that song, Between Me and My Son. You Are My Sunshine, that's our thing. But Shardik did, and he used it as a call me. I kind of feel like that's either they picked the song, he picked the song just because no one does know it, and it's a really good secret password, you could say. But part of me thinks it's because he is blackmailing her or had something on her, and that's a reminder of, you're going to answer me. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen to you and your family. But then again, the Hale we knew really didn't care about her family until the video message we saw and her thinking she was going to die, which she ended up dying. So maybe using her family against her isn't really something they would do, and instead they would say, hey, I can make you super powerful and wealthy and build you up in this company if you help smuggle me out more data. I could see either way. Also interesting that the two videos of Hale saying goodbye to her son were different, and then we had the mention of the mirror world and that Rehoboam was trying to create a mirror world, and that was a way to predict things. So if we know Sarok said, hey, my machine, it already predicted that the massacre at Westworld was going to happen, I'm assuming the first video we saw with a less emotional Hale was the mirror world, the prediction of, hey, this is what's going to happen, and then the actual more emotional video where she's breaking down a lot more and saying none of this was worth it, you're just important, was how human Hale actually responded. Which to me is pretty interesting because it shows that while the machine can predict events and predict generally what a person is going to do, it doesn't have the emotion behind it. And it doesn't seem to take into account that humans can grow and learn. I'm not going to take a jab at the sequel trilogy for Star Wars, but I'm definitely going to take a jab. I think that was another thing that I think sometimes people forget that. And I'm guilty too. I'm not trying to say that I'm not sitting here pointing a finger back at myself. Humans can grow and they can change and they can become better. And the machine doesn't seem to be taking that into account, that, oh, maybe Hale would all of a sudden realize none of this shit is worth it. You're my son. I love you. Just fuck all of this. So that makes it a little bit more scary for this machine to be wanting to take over, I think. And I think if it goes between Rehoboam and Dolores, I'm more on Dolores' side. Let's continue on Hale, though. I know there are a million theories about what Pearl is inside the Hale body. In my live chat, you guys had a lot of good suggestions. Some of you think it's Angela, some of you think it's Clementine, some of you think it's Teddy. I got the vibe it was Teddy at first, but then as things progressed, I'm still betting that it's a split personality sort of thing where you have Dolores in Hale's body and then you have Wyatt in the Dolores physical host body, and that she managed to separate those because she even said to Bernard, it's going to take both of us to survive. She realizes that she needs someone that's a lot more docile country girl, and she also needs the ruthless Wyatt part of her personality, and she split them. And what makes me think that there was a lot of good camera angles that showed the two being merged or one, and then we had a lot of black and white, yin and yang going on throughout this episode. And if you've watched previous seasons, you know in Westworld they do a lot with camera work and visuals to hint at what's going on. And those were some really big, glaring, like, look at me sort of thing. So that's where I'm at right now with who is in Hale's body. But that can definitely change as the episodes go on. Some of you in my live chat thought it was Maeve, and that we're seeing a kind of time jump around, and that maybe the Maeve we saw talking with Sabak was actually the mirror world, and him seeing, okay, if I worked with Maeve, how would she take down Dolores so I can figure out how I would take down Dolores, sort of thing. So you guys had some really awesome thoughts in my live chat after the show. They're all pretty awesome. Regardless of who's in Hale's body, you have to admit the pedo in the park thing with the dog was pretty epically scary. I mean, I'm still one for rehabilitation. I just don't like outright killing people. I understand some people you can never put back in the public, perfectly fine. I just don't like the idea of ending life, which is not a good opinion to have when it comes to something like that, because most people believe pedo just fucking cut off his head. And my thing is, okay, maybe just lock him in a cage, rehabilitate him, and force him to be monitored for the rest of his life, and just work. I don't know. It's not a popular opinion to have. A lot of people were probably applauding that she choked out the pedo. But I don't like judge, jury, executioner type of stuff. And something I have learned from doing reviews on this channel is a lot of people do like that stuff, and a lot of people feel, well, that was a bad person, so them being brutally murdered is A-okay. And I'm like, okay. Apparently I cannot say I have a different opinion. I don't think pedophiles should be able to run free, but I just also don't think we should fucking choke them out in a park till they die. But again, not a popular opinion at all. Very cute that she took the dog to give to her son. I thought that was super cute. Also, the whole son, you're not my mommy thing. And tugging at your heartstrings. At first, I thought it was going to be, oh, a kid can see it's not really his mom. They can see through it, you know, that trope with kids. But it turned out to be something much different, which I'm happy about. But with the pedo guy, I'm so sorry. I know I've already angered a lot of people by saying he shouldn't have just been executed already, so I'm just gonna keep digging that grave, because I'm sure this is gonna come to bite me back in the face that I just don't believe in executing people for shit, and we should rehabilitate, but whatever. Anyways, Insight knows everybody has this tight report on everyone, just like with Caleb. So did they not know he was a pedophile? Why would they let him just go free? Is this the sort of thing where they only bother themselves with things they think is important? Because they thought it was important enough. If you look at Caleb's profile, okay, no to reproduction, no to any social interactions. We don't want him getting married. And then we see that when he had a relationship that was going on long enough, the system interfered and ended that relationship because they do not want him to breed. And they've decided you're going to be a construction worker, a petty thief for the rest of your life, because in 10 to 12 years, you're going to kill yourself. And of course, Dolores made the point of, you know, they don't want to invest in someone that's going to kill themselves in 10 to 12 years. But because they're not willing to invest in you, they're assuring that you have no other choice but to end up killing yourself in 10 to 12 years. It's a pretty fucked up cycle. But even thinking that, if they intervened even with someone like Caleb, why not with pedophile guy? I don't know why they're just letting him roam around. Maybe that just shows how evil the machine is, where it's like, oh, okay, dude, running around molesting kids. Not a big deal. Maybe arrest him? Put him in jail for the rest of his life? Put him somewhere supervised where he can still give back to society without touching children? Going back to Caleb, though, I loved when his robot construction worker friend went to get him because his heart rate was too high, and it automatically was alerted, oh shit, there's going to be a workplace accident or something, I need to go up there and I need to help him. And then when he was pushed off the edge and hit the cement and was shattered, my heart was broken. At first I thought it was Dolores taking control of it, but then when it just went right for Caleb and then easily was defeated, I was like, oh, this isn't Dolores buying time or whatever. This is actually the robot being activated because Caleb's heart rate went up. Which, by the way, I talked about how scary that was in my live chat, that they have the drip, and I'm going to do a video explaining that stuff because they have it out there, explaining the technology and all that, but I really hate the idea of having this pad, and just like with the host, you can control heart rate and all that stuff. That is terrifying to me. Absolutely. And I understand why Caleb turned his off, and they're like, oh, military grade drip. A lot of people would love to have that, and he just wants to have what's real, which is ironic then when he goes to Dolores, you're the most real thing that's ever happened to me, and it's like, ooh, except she's not real. I think she's real, but again, there's philosophy majors that are my subscribers, and they come at me, and I'm scared of them, so please don't start this fight in the comment section. They'll come at me again. I've already talked way too much, so let me do some random thoughts, and then you could expect theory videos going forward. One, I like the look of the ambulance. I also like that the EMTs didn't know how to work on Dolores without the machine telling them what to do. I told this story in my live chat, but it's like teachers, before we had cell phones, we could just put it in our pockets going, oh, you need to learn how to do this math in your head because you're not always going to have a calculator in your pocket. And it's like, but we do now. And they didn't predict that. So I feel like wouldn't the same principle be taught to the EMTs, like, hey, just in case the computer is down, you need to be able to work on a person. This is what you need to do. Like Caleb knew. Okay, oxygen. We need to stop the bleeding. So on and so forth. But then I was discussing with the people in my live chat, what if there are rules and regulations because of human error that you only follow what the computer tells you to do, or you can be fired or sued? I don't know what's going on with that. Also, poor EMTs never stood a chance. I think Dolores asking for Caleb's full name was twofold. One, she wanted to check up on his name and make sure that he didn't do any shitty things in the park. But also, two, so she could check in on him later. Because Dolores really does have a heart of gold. Or should I say Wyatt? That 300 riot control robots better be used at some point in the season. You don't tease us with 300 riot control robots and not use them at some point. It's gonna happen. And if it doesn't, please don't rub it in my face because I'm already going to be very upset about it. And finally, the old friend they're going to contact next episode is obviously William the Man in Black. So those are my thoughts for episode 3. Like, subscribe, and come back for more of my insanity, which is just going to get worse as this season goes on. I'm so sorry. Please send help.